Is there anything Whoopi Goldberg can't do? From stand-up comedy to acting, voice work, and even fashion design, this multi-talented powerhouse has been blazing trails in the industry for decades. After her breakout role in The Color Purple, Goldberg went on to win multiple Emmys, a Tony, a Grammy, and an Oscar. Life has been good to Whoopi. In 2016, Variety estimated that she earned between $5 and $6 million per season as a co-host on The View. Surely, Whoopi can buy anything she wants, but money can't erase the memories and experiences of her tragic past. Before she became a household name, she endured such harrowing circumstances that it's surprising Hollywood hasn't tried to make a biopic about her life yet. Here's the real-life tragic story of Whoopi Goldberg. Is Whoopi Goldberg's stage name funny, or just a little sad? For years, Whoopi Goldberg went to great lengths to keep her real name a secret. In a 1984 interview with The Washington Post, she admitted that only her close family and friends knew her birth name. Goldberg explained that she used a stage name to protect her family, allowing her to lead a separate life. That's how it is now. I can go home and live like this other person, even if I look like Whoopi Goldberg on the street. I can pull out my driver's license and say, "Hey, but that's not me," she explained. But where did the name Whoopi Goldberg come from? It goes back to her move to California. The Guardian reported that she was nicknamed Whoopi because she farted so much. However, Goldberg told The Washington Post that the name actually started as a joke. First, it was whoopee cushion. Then it was in French, like whoopee couon, she recalled. While the name might sound embarrassing, Goldberg's mother warned her that no one would respect her with a name like that. Taking her mother's advice to heart, she added Goldberg to her stage name. Goldberg is somewhere in my family, and that's all I can say about it. It's like she said. We all know and love her as Whoopi now, but we can't help but feel a bit of sadness behind the humiliating origin of her nickname. Whoopi Goldberg did the unthinkable after a teenage pregnancy. In the book The Choices We Made, 25 Women and Men Speak Out About Abortion, Whoopi Goldberg shared a deeply personal story. At just 14 years old, she discovered she was pregnant. Instead of asking for help or discussing her options, she felt overwhelmed and panicked. In her desperation, Goldberg tried various harmful methods to end the pregnancy. I drank these weird concoctions that girls told me about, something like Johnny Walker Red with a bit of Clorox, alcohol, baking soda, which probably saved my stomach, and some kind of cream, she revealed. Unfortunately, these methods only made her violently ill, pushing her to take a radical and potentially dangerous step to terminate the pregnancy. The following year, at 15, she faced another pregnancy but was able to safely terminate it at Planned Parenthood thanks to new legislation that had just legalized abortion in New York. Reflecting on her past choices, Goldberg acknowledges that she is not proud of them. That's why she remains a fierce advocate for abortion rights and legal access to abortion to this day. A learning disability forced Whoopi Goldberg to drop out of high school. Whoopi's school years were marked by serious struggles. In an interview with Emmy, she admitted that she had trouble understanding the curriculum, which made her believe she wasn't intelligent. Frustrated by her struggles, she made the difficult decision to leave school before her 17th birthday. You don't want to be labeled stupid for the rest of your life. I felt that way for a significant part of mine. According to all the paperwork, I just couldn't cope, she recalled. After cleaning out her locker, Goldberg took to the streets in search of comfort. It wasn't until years later that the real cause of her academic difficulties was identified: dyslexia. Looking back, it's hard not to wonder how her life might have been different if someone had recognized her learning disability earlier and advocated for her to get tested. Whoopi Goldberg has a tragic history of drug addiction. After dropping out of school, Whoopi ended up living on the streets where she began experimenting with various drugs. She tried everything from LSD to heroin and quickly became addicted. One publication even described her as a hardened addict, a label Goldberg found hard to dispute. She explained that the more drugs she took, the worse she felt, leading to a destructive cycle of increasing drug use. So you have to do it more and more often. It's not your friend, she admitted. Overcoming her addiction became a top priority, but Goldberg confessed it took many attempts before she finally kicked the habit. You fall a lot because it's hard, she recognized. However, there's one drug Goldberg isn't willing to give up: marijuana. In March 2019, she advocated for its legalization in New Jersey, citing how it had helped ease her painful menstrual cramps since she was young. She wrote an op-ed for NorthJersey.com, sharing her support for legalization and her personal experience with the drug. Additionally, Goldberg is co-owner of Whoopi and Maya, a cannabis wellness brand designed specifically to relieve menstrual pain. The cycle of teen pregnancy continued with Whoopi's daughter. After her life spiraled due to addiction, it was time for Whoopi to get her act together. She entered a rehab center, where she met addiction counselor Alvin Martin. Soon they were a couple. Goldberg and Martin got married, and at 19, she gave birth to their daughter, her only child, Alexandria Martin. Their marriage wouldn't last, and they divorced in 1979. When it ended, Goldberg was left jobless and without prospects. She knew it was time to head west in search of a new life and opportunity. So she packed everything up, took her daughter, and moved to California to chase her dream of becoming an actress. Unfortunately, the cycle of teen pregnancy continued. At age 15, Alexandria gave birth to her first child. Getting off welfare turned tragedy into triumph. Starting over in a new state wasn't easy for Goldberg. Despite her passion for acting, it took 6 years for her dream to come true. As detailed in her interview with Emmy, she settled in San Diego, California, where acting gigs were scarce. To make ends meet, she took various odd jobs, including masonry and working in a funeral home, where she styled and applied makeup to the deceased. However, with the responsibility of caring for a young child, she needed additional support and reluctantly turned to welfare. Recalling her experience with the system, Goldberg vividly remembered surprise visits from social workers, who enforced strict rules, even forbidding her friends from sharing food provided by the government. If a social worker caught you with a friend at home and there was a plate of food in front of them, it would be deducted from your money the next month, she revealed. After 5 years on welfare, Goldberg finally reached financial independence. Freeing herself from public assistance was a major milestone. She proudly returned her last welfare check to the office, saying, "Here, I don't need this anymore." That moment marked a significant triumph in Goldberg's journey to self-sufficiency and success. The real reason Whoopi Goldberg avoided flying for years. A traumatic experience forever changed Whoopi Goldberg's relationship with flying. She witnessed a mid-air collision between two planes. She told The Guardian that the haunting images stuck with her for a very long time. The incident had such a deep impact that for 13 years, she refused to get on a plane, choosing instead to travel in a customized tour bus. That avoidance became a part of her life. Goldberg relied heavily on the tour bus, which allowed her to continue her career without facing her fear of flying. The bus became a mobile sanctuary, giving her the freedom to work while managing her anxiety. However, this arrangement couldn't last forever. Eventually, flying became inevitable. The turning point came when a lucrative opportunity arose. Goldberg shared candidly. "They waved a check in front of me, laughing about what finally motivated her to face her fear. Despite the financial incentive, the days leading up to her first flight were filled with anxiety. I got really nervous and started sweating a few days before," she admitted. Her first flight, aboard a private jet, was anything but comforting. She described the experience as difficult but manageable. It wasn't totally impossible to do. Still, it marked a major step in overcoming her fear. Bravo to her for facing it head-on. Whoopi Goldberg can no longer drive. Since becoming a public figure, Whoopi Goldberg has been recognized for her signature round glasses, usually perched on the tip of her nose. But they're not just a fashion statement. They're necessary due to her severely impaired vision. During an episode of The View, Goldberg revealed that her eyesight had deteriorated so much that she was no longer allowed to drive. "I have a driver," she announced. Acknowledging the limits of her vision, she said her eyesight wasn't good enough and made people nervous when she was behind the wheel. As corrective surgery doesn't appear to be a viable option, Goldberg found a solution that works. She resides in New Jersey, which makes it convenient for her driver to take her into the city to film The View. This setup allows her to continue working without the added stress of navigating her vision problems. All Whoopi Goldberg needs is her pets. Whoopi Goldberg has experienced a series of failed marriages. Her first marriage to Alvin Martin ended in divorce in 1979. In 1986, she married cinematographer David Clayson, but that union lasted only until 1988. Her third marriage was to Lyle Trachtenberg in 1994, but they divorced just a year later. To this day, Goldberg has not remarried, and it's unlikely she ever will. In a 2009 interview with The Guardian, she admitted she was never fully committed to anyone and recognized that she wasn't very good at relationships. Goldberg explained that she had spent many years providing for her daughter Alexandria and for Martin, giving them all her time and money. Now, she felt it was time to focus on herself. She described herself frankly as selfish when it comes to letting someone else into her life. "I like being able to get up when I want, go where I want. It's hard," she said. At the time, she was content to live a solitary life with her cat Oliver. While that may seem lonely to some, in 2011 she welcomed another furry friend into her life, a rescue cat named Vin.